Welcome once again to the Coach Damon Floyd Show here on Talk 101.3 The Buzz, where all of our coach show, of course, are brought to you by L&B Appliance out there on Durkee Road, just off Waddell Highway. We appreciate their continued support of Bradley Center football. Well, Coach Floyd, here we are, 12-0, rolling right along. But as you'd say, we're 0-0 as we go into another big week, another playoff game against an opponent we've seen before just 3 weeks ago. But let's talk first about the Maryville game. We played very good against Maryville, held them to 220 yards of offense, interceptions by 4 different players. Our defense really was, as always, just outstanding, I thought, the entire game.
Yeah, you know, right at the beginning when they had the lateral, which and it counted. So anyway, I thought our defense guys played good. It's like we've talked about all year. They've really been unselfish, and they're trusting the coaches and doing their job and taking care of their responsibility. And then on the end of it, you see turnovers, but you know you got to give the defensive line credit for putting pressure on them.
Right.
And of course, obviously the secondary for being in the right spots. So, thought we tackled well Friday. We'll have to do that again this Friday, you know, to advance again. Well,
and it gets tougher every week. We talk about it gets tougher and tougher. Looking back after the game Friday night while I was here, and then over the weekend, thinking back and everything, the turning point seemed to me to be in the first half. We score on the long run, Baboo, on the pass, and we're up 7-0. They come back and it's 7-7. We score again. It's 14-7. Then they come right back, and it's like two heavyweights powering against each other. But then, less than 2 minutes to go in the half, they make the mistake of kicking off to Boo, who had just switched with Jalen Terry on return. And he runs at 98 yards, of course, which is a new record for us. And they like, well, okay, they got us, but that's just one touchdown. But then, Wiley Suskowitz, young sophomore, picks off the ball, sets us up the 20 from the 41 to the 22, and here we go at the 19, I guess it was, and we get a field goal. Now, that's got to be deflating to them to walk out. You're tied toe-to-toe with the #1 team in state, and all of a sudden, less than 2 minutes later, you're down 10 points. And we're getting the ball when we come out. So that to me was the emotional maybe turning point of that game, I think. But
there's been so many years in the past where we've played them, and it's a tight ball game, and then all of a sudden, like that, and momentum shifts, and they've got, you know, 14 points, 21 points. Like, what just happened? Yeah. And that's what we did Friday night. Yep. So it was good to see, you know, that happen for us and not them. And obviously you got to give the players credit for making some huge plays. And I do think you're right. That obviously shifted a momentum to our side. But, you know, you talk about at the beginning of the game where it's back and forth, back and forth. We've each played a whole lot of games since the first time. Obviously knew some weaknesses that each other have. So, you know, it's hard. It's hard in 6A football to come out and, you know, stop everything that offense is doing. Ours too as well, but obviously they're very well coached, and they had a great plan and their players executed. But I felt in the end our experience played a huge factor. You know, we've talked about it before where we've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football. Right. And to me, it just seemed like nothing fazed us Friday night. You know, it was our guys had a chip on their shoulder. They had something to prove. And that's kind of what we were preaching all week is like Maryville, they didn't believe that the first win, they thought it was a fluke. They didn't play well. We played well, you know, and we were trying to hammer that home. And I think our guys came out with the right attitude and was not looking like it was going to be an easy win just because we had beat them before. So as a coach, that was exciting to see. And the execution for 3 quarters, because our third quarter was bad. Now, defense played pretty good, but offensively, we just kept killing ourselves with penalties and silly mistakes, you know, not getting lined up and things like that. So like to see 4 quarters, a good 4 quarters at this point in the season, but we played really good for 3 and got away with it.
Well, we sure did. And our defense, I was looking at the year-to-date stats that Coach Thompson keeps. We have Tito Williams. You know, he's 3rd all-time in tackles in a season at 105. And a young guy named Wiley Suskowitz is 5th, a sophomore that we talked about him earlier with an interception there. And Tito's been great. Zane McIntosh, who's a freshman starter, Braxton Arthur, A.J. Williams, Rodney, Ben Collins. I mean, we called all those names all night long Friday night on the radio, and it's just, you keep saying it's truly a team effort, and it takes that if you're going to win, be successful. and everybody does his thing and plays his position. You know, everybody wants to run, tackle the guy with the ball.
Yeah.
But you've said this over and over. You know, you can't always be the guy that makes the tackle. You can be the guy that takes out the blocker. You can be the guy that sets up the tackle for your teammate, and that's what it's got to be. We had 4 different guys make those 4 interceptions. In the second half, they had 5 possessions, and 3 of those in interceptions, and just those are just back-breaking. You're at your point now, you're down by 10 points already, and it just gets worse and worse and keeps piling on. And I guess at some point, I don't guess you give up, but you just realize, you know what, we can't win this game, you know, but just keep fighting, and they did.
Yeah, they're obviously well coached and got a lot of history on their side. That they got a lot of pride in their program, and so we knew it was going to be a tough win, and was happy to see some things go our way. But you got to, once again, you got to give our guys credit because, like for example, Tito's interception, they have been a team notorious for years of throwing timely screens, and it's not the same screen out of the same look. So we have combined over the years a lot of their screen game, and you know, there's certain days and certain periods in practice we work screens a whole lot. So for Tito to be in that position, obviously he made an unbelievable play.
Took it away from that guy, it looked like.
But it's more, obviously he did it physically, but mentally he was in tune of what was going on in the game.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes for a lot of those guys that made those plays, is understanding it's not just going out there physically. You have to prepare yourself mentally throughout the week. And, you know, once again, experience plays a huge part in that, because they understand after playing and playing and playing that you're going to get a chance, and if you're mentally listening to the scouting report and things like that, then you probably have a pretty good chance to make a play. Obviously, he's very athletic. So
Absolutely, he is. Balance on offense, 145 rushing, 156 passing. Caleb was 13 of 17, had a good game there, and he had 57 yards rushing, 2 TDs and 1 rushing. Jackson Willis caught the first touchdown pass there. Or the second one? He caught the second, I guess it was. On 4th and 17, no less. And it's just really good. But one area we don't ignore them, but we just overlook the offensive line with Luke Keith, Jacob Page, Chris Myers, Eugene Peterson, all those guys, and several other guys that are involved in that offensive line. That's without an offensive line, nothing's going to happen in any level of football, I don't think. But they are really a veteran group again, and know their position and play that position well, but they make things click for the offense.
it's a very tight group. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, but obviously really good players up front. They're physical, they're strong, but I think the best thing about this offensive line, and we've had this before, but this offensive line, they're a team. They care for each other. They're obviously don't get any notoriety unless you get a holding call, but they don't care about getting the credit. They just want Bradley to win. And I say that not only about our line, but really our team. Our guys don't care about stats. You know, a lot of those passes Caleb was throwing, we didn't throw a lot downfield, but they had two safeties 15 yards deep. Their whole thing was do not let them get the deep ball. So Caleb kept taking what they gave him. But you're right, it all starts with the offensive line. In football, it's O-line, D-line, and you win at the line of scrimmage. And I said last week, if we're going to win the game, it's going to be on the O-line, D-line, and we got to win that battle up front. So fortunately, we got guys that won, and we lost some individual battles throughout the game. It's going to happen. They got good players too, but we won more than we lost.
Yeah. Another really, really good enthusiastic crowd was there Friday night. Our side was jammed to overflowing. Great crowd that Maryville brought with them, and we expect the same thing with Bearden this Friday night, because we're down to the point now. We're at the Sweet 16, I guess we are. Going to cut to 8, then 4, and then the final 2. But right now we're at home Friday night, and that's the big, big thing for us. And let's get Bearden.
It's 8.
It's 8. It's 8 now. Yeah. 8-4. That's right. That's right. Yeah. We're the Elite 8. Sweet 16 last week in college basketball, but it's down to the Elite 8 now. Let's take a break for LB Appliance here on Talk 101.3 The Buzz. We'll return and look ahead at this week's game, a rematch with the Bearden Bulldogs when they come to Jimmy Level Field. Welcome back to Coach Damon Floyd Show here, brought to you by LB Appliance out there on Dirt Key Road. Coach, this is a little unusual. We've played the same team twice, but we just played them 3 weeks ago. They played us 3 weeks ago. That's the way they look at it. So what, if anything, different can we expect? Because there's not a whole lot you can do. And this time of year, you're not putting in a lot of new stuff anyway. You're just tweaking. It comes down just basically execution of what you want to do, I guess.
It does. And, what you're going to see different is the score.
Yeah.
Look, I love the way our guys came out and played, but we had a lot of things go our way. The ball bounced our way that night when we played them, and the score kind of got out of hand. So I'd say it's going to be a tough game that's going to come down, late in the fourth quarter. And it's like we always talk about. It is about execution, but you can't have silly penalties. You can't turn the ball over. I think field position in this game is going to be huge. We have got to make them drive the length of the field, and if we can get some short fields on the offense side of the ball, then I think that's a huge factor in the game. So special teams, and we've talked about it, is going to play, a huge factor. And we cannot lose this special teams battle. We can't be even. We need to win the special teams battle. So that's something that we're focusing on. There's not a whole lot of secrets now. They've got every one of our films. We've got every one of their films. You'll make a couple little adjustments just because we played a couple weeks ago, but they're here because of what they do. We're here because of what we do. So to change too much would be silly. It's about going out and, like you said, executing. Yeah,
if you get here at 12-0, I mean, you're doing something right. So you don't want to change. Don't fix it if it's not broken, as the old saying goes. One little neat thing I thought we saw last Friday, going back to that game, on defense, they line up to snap the ball, and all of a sudden our guys, our defensive linemen, sort of huddle up there. And we talked about that on the postgame interview on the radio. That little thing there, I think, it's great at confusing them about blocking scheme, stuff like that. Is that something that you came up with, or Coach Benefield?
Coach Benefield did. Maryville's, in this day and age in football, and it's trickled down, obviously, from the NFL, there's so many one-on-one battles where the offense is taking advantage. And obviously you don't know which play they're calling each time to who's the matchup that particular play, but there's so much responsibility on each individual doing their job. Well, they like for you to line up, defense to line up, and they sit there and look and think, okay, they're in this front, this coverage, let's call this play. So when they lined up in an offensive formation, Coach Benefield decided, all right, well, let's get together. They don't know what front and coverage we're in. They're just got to call a play.
Yeah.
And then if you notice as the game went on, they just quit doing it because our guys would line up and they couldn't tell what front and coverage we're in. By the time the clock's running down, now we get to call our front and coverage and then, make the play. So it definitely helped. It definitely helped not knowing what front coverage, or if we were going to send a blitz, they had to kind of pick it up real quick. So
I think that's where coaching really comes into play, when you pick up things like that and able to do something like that. Obviously, you talk about penalties at the wrong time can kill the drive. Turnovers and field position is going to be the key there. Did we come out healthy this week, as far as we know at this point and early in the week?
No, I don't think anybody's going to miss the game.
Yeah.
But
some bruises typical this time of year.
Yeah, there's some people that we're trying to take care of in practice that get them ready for Friday, but that's the way it is. I'm sure Bearden's got some of those guys the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you go out and bang each other at this point in the season. Like it's a matter of getting to Friday healthy, and that's what we're trying to do. Make sure that mentally we're prepared, and then try to be as rested as we can at this point.
I was going to ask about practice. Obviously, you sort of back off because you want to keep everybody healthy, and it's not like in July you can condition all that. But is it easier or harder to prepare for a team you've seen 3 weeks ago, or did you rather be playing someone that you hadn't seen ever?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's positives and negatives.
Yeah.
Because we're sitting there watching film and thinking, well, what are they going to do versus this? And it's the same for us. If we had success, well, what are they going to change to defend this? Or if they did have success, what you think they'll do that the same, or do they think we're going to attack it in different ways? So there's all kinds of mind games, and really you can drive yourself crazy.
Yeah. Outcoach yourself sometimes.
I think so, and I think we did that. We talked about it Farragut game. I thought we probably overcoached a little bit and tried to do too much. I think we're better when we just, this is the game plan. It's not too detailed. I shouldn't say detailed, but it's not a whole bunch of variety. And so, it's supposed to rain Friday. I think it's like 70% chance throughout the game. So that's going to change things a little bit, even though it's turf. It's going to get a little bit colder. So really, it's going to boil down to the offensive line, defensive line. Can we make tackles? Can they break tackles? Can we break tackles? And then not, hurting ourselves like we did that third quarter last week.
Well, it's going to be a fun game. I think we're going to have a huge crowd. And as we said, the last several weeks, it's for all the marbles now. Going back to the Cleveland, Red Bank, Bearden game, the Bearden game, yeah, we knew we had to win that to get home field advantage. We won that, took care of business. Then we taken care of Westridge, taking care now of Maryville again. Got to beat another team we've seen, a very, very good Bearden team. And make no doubt about it, I hope people don't look at that previous score and say, okay, it's a cakewalk, we beat them bad here, mercy rule them, got them here. No, folks, it's not like that. And this I'll be the first to tell you that. Be here, support the Bears, and just to take care of this. We can get another home game between them Friday night, but we'll just talk about this Friday.
Yeah, we're just worried about this Friday and trying to go 1-0 this week.
That's going to wrap it up here for Talk 101.3 The Buzz. This is Gary Ownbey saying so long for now. God bless and go Bears.